Okay, this video is going to be about the definite integral. So let's start by understanding the difference between the definite and the indefinite. The indefinite integral has the form the integral of a function, let's say x cubed times dx, which result is x to the 4 over 4 plus c, and we call this indefinite because the c value could be any possible value. C can be positive, negative, or a fraction or something. And the main difference is that the definite integral has something that we call limits. So we have a lower limit and an upper limit, and the integral, you should do the integral the same way, x to the 4 over 4, but instead of writing plus c, which makes the integral indefinite, we are going to evaluate this on the two limits of integration from 0 to 1, and the result of that will be a number, okay, a numerical value. So something very, very important is the formula, okay? So the definite integral has a formula which comes from the first theorem of calculus, which is the integral from a to b of a function. It's equals to the integral, substitute on the upper limit of integration minus the integral substitute with the lower limit of integration. So in the previous case, we have the integral, we know that the integral from 0 to 1, it was 1, of x cubed times dx was x to the 4 over 4 from 0 to 1. So my upper limit of integration is 1. So we first substitute 1 on the integral. So it will be 1 to the 4 over 4 minus, and then we substitute my lower limit of integration, which is 0 to the 4 over 4. And that will be 1 over 4. Okay? Very important thing is the interpretation of this integral. This 1 over 4, it's units squared because it is the area under the curve between the two limits of integration. So if we draw the function, or the original function, which was y equals to x cubed, this is the function y equals to x cubed, and we take into account the two limits of integration, which are 0 and 1, what we are obtaining with the definite integral is the area which is under the curve and between the two limits of integration. So this area over here, it is equals to 1/4 unit squared, 1/4 of a unit. So it is a fourth part of a unit. Okay, let's check a second example of the definite integral. It says the integral from 1 to 5. So the lower limit of integration in this case is 1, and the upper limit of integration in this case is 5, of the function x plus 2 times dx. So let's obtain the integral of x is x squared over 2, and the integral of 2 is 2x. Instead of the c, as we know that this is a definite integral, we're going to substitute on the formula the upper and limit values. So the first limit we have to substitute is always the upper limit of integration. So we're going to substitute 5 squared over 2 plus 2 times 5, and then we're going to subtract, according to the formula, the lower limit of integration, which is 1 in this case, 1 squared over 2 plus 2 times 1. If we do the operations, 5 squared is 25, 25 halves plus 10 units is 45 halves, and the second term is 1 squared is 1 over 2 1/2 plus 2 5 halves. So we subtract 5 halves from 45 halves. We obtain 40 halves, which is equals to 20. So what is the interpretation of this 20? These are 20 units squared. Pay attention on this. This is the graph of the original function, the function x plus 2, okay? So we know that the integral of x plus 2 times dx from 1 to 5, according to our calculus, is 20 units squared. So pay attention. Which are the limits of integration? The first limit is 1, second limit is 5. So what we are obtaining is the area under the line, which is this function. This is the line function. So let's obtain it. If you can count, this is a rectangle which base is 4 and which height is 3. So the area of this rectangle will be 4 times 3, 12 units squared. And then we have a triangle which base is 4 and which height is 4 also. So the area of this triangle will be 4 times 4, 16 over 2, 8 units squared. So the sum of the area of the triangle plus the area of the rectangle, which is the area under the curve and between the two limits of integration, it is equals to 20 units squared. Okay, I hope this video has been useful in order to understand the definite integral. All you have to do is follow the formula and substitute in the upper and the lower limits of integration. See you. Work on your exercises, please. It is set 13.